Welcome back to HQ. Chris Hassel with Danny Kanell and the projected CFP bracket from Sportsline. Couple interesting things here, Danny. One, no Oklahoma.
Yeah. Okay, wait.
Amanda,
hold on.
You got the sixth-ranked team in the country. They are not projecting Oklahoma to make it.
I have on leggings because I'm sitting on the desk. Okay, can we see this? Is this on camera?
Might not be in focus.
Is right there.
I see that jersey.
If college football playoff ended today, so where are they? Why aren't they there?
This is the Sportsline projected bracket.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay,
they should be in there.
I know you got a big game coming up this weekend against Texas.
Maybe his thumb is worse than we think. Maybe that's it.
Okay, go away, Danny.
I've got another.
That's it. That's all. That's my only issue.
One more beef for me. Michigan is in, but Indiana's not out of the Big Ten.
I mean, Michigan, we're about to find out this weekend because Michigan plays USC, Indiana plays Oregon. I do think Michigan probably has the easier path. Maybe that's what it has to do with Indiana.
I don't know.
And still, the numbers, and this is Kirk Cignetti's biggest beef, even the numbers favor the bigger brands because they have better recruiting classes. They have a Bryce Underwood. I still think they get incredible favoritism, and it's disrespect to Indiana.
Michigan still has to play Ohio State later this year, the number one team in the country.
They beat them 4 times in a row.
That's true. After this week, Indiana doesn't have a ranked team on the schedule, though they do go to Penn State later on this season. The other thing that stood out, Missouri, number 6.
Yeah, I think Missouri's about to get exposed this weekend. They play Alabama, but they have one of the easier schedules in the entire SEC. So I could see them getting to that 10-2 mark. Even if they do lose a couple games, I think a 10-2 SEC team is probably in.
I wanted to just kind of go right on past this because it grinds my gears, but they're projecting Notre Dame to make it as well.
Yeah, they're going to do the same thing they did last year. They're going to run off 10 games in a row. I mentioned the 10-2 SEC team. I think a 10-2 Notre Dame team is probably in, and they will sell close losses. I hate good losses or close losses, but there's no shame in losing by 1 to Texas A&M and by a field goal to Miami. Probably going to be enough to get them in.
Yeah, but who have you beaten? Who will they have beaten at the end of the year? They do have to play USC. We'll see how good USC actually is. Okay, so this is the projected Sportsline bracket. The one that Amanda saw a little bit earlier is the projected bracket if we went by the AP rankings right now.
Yep.
So Oklahoma would be in. Look, if you're in the top 12, you're in. Unless you're Tennessee, you're number 12, you get bounced because Memphis gets that automatic bid as the highest ranked group of 5. So, Danny, we're going to take us through here, and you're going to W and L this projected bracket as it stands right now. We'd have Texas Tech going to Bama.
Texas Tech is a really good football team, but I do think Bama got the wake-up call they needed against Florida State, and they have looked so good. So I have them advancing. Ty Simpson, one of the best quarterbacks in the entire country. I think his play continues. I would favor Alabama and put them moving on to face Ohio State.
And here's your group of 5 champion projected as of right now. The Memphis Tigers out of the American Conference would have to go to College Station.
Does it sound disrespectful if I say we shouldn't even have a group of 5 team in the playoff? They should have their own playoff because this is going to be an annual tradition. You get boat raced by a team from the group of 5, which I do think Texas A&M will advance in this one.
Yeah.
No disrespect. But it did sound kind of disrespectful.
Boise, they were okay last year. Okay.
Yeah,
Remember, they got that bye.
Yep.
That's the difference this year. No more byes for the conference champions. It's just the top 4 teams get byes. Number 11 LSU at Norman, Oklahoma, in an SEC matchup in the first round.
Oh, my goodness. If I don't take Oklahoma here, Amanda over there is like she's just killing me right now, staring right through me. I do think Oklahoma's the better team, and I don't think LSU makes the college football playoff anyway, but I do think Oklahoma does. Mateer comes back. He's healthy. I'm putting him advancing forward, but you better leave soon because that next round is a rough one.
Yeah, the Sportsline didn't have LSU making it either. Georgia, Indiana in Bloomington. I would love to see this.
Oh, my gosh. I would love to see an SEC team have to travel up north to play there in Bloomington. The scene would be unbelievable. I have Indiana winning that game. Dude, all the disrespect. Georgia is not the same dominant team that we've seen under Kirby Smart recently, and Indiana has a quarterback in Fernando Mendoza who I think is capable of pulling off that upset.
Okay, so now we're on to the quarterfinals, and this is where we go to the neutral sites, the bowl games and all that. No more on-campus games here. Let's start with Alabama, Ohio State, arguably the 2 biggest brands in football.
Okay, I think Bama is the best team in the SEC, but you know what? This Ohio State team, it's crazy to even say it, they might be better than last year's team. The defense statistically already better than last year's team. And Julian Sayin has been outstanding. He's completed 80% of his passes, championship pedigree. They kind of get right at the right time. They've already started fast. I don't even have to worry about that. I think Ohio State would advance.
Another SEC game, A&M against Ole Miss.
The story of the season for me has been Trinidad Chambliss, the job he's done at Ole Miss, but I do think Texas A&M, a little bit more of a complete team. I trust their defense. Plus Marcel Reed really starting to flourish under that system they're running with Colin Klein. He's got some weapons at receiver. I'd have them advancing.
Okay, down to Oklahoma, Oregon. You hinted this would be a tough matchup for Oklahoma if it happens.
Yeah, close your ears, Amanda, because I do think Oregon is one of the best teams in the country. Dan Lanning always has his team up for a challenge. I think this would be one of those situations. Dante Moore has been incredible for the Ducks. I would have them moving on.
And this would be interesting, too. Indiana and Miami.
Yes. Here's where the Indiana Cinderella story would come to an end. Just saw Miami in person. Carson Beck really coming together. Best offensive line in the ACC, maybe the country. And the defensive line with Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor coming off the edge. I think they could be problematic for Fernando Mendoza.
And Mendoza is from Miami, went to high school there. All right, we've got the semifinal set then. This is the projected AP poll rankings if everything ended today. And Danny Kanell's got 4 of the top 5 ranked teams here in the semifinals. Let's start with Ohio State against A&M.
A little bit chalky to this point, and I will say I'm going to continue the chalk. Ohio State, championship pedigree, going for back-to-back natties. They looked apart. Ryan Day's already been there. He's got that huge monkey off his back, and I just don't know if I trust Texas A&M playing against that defense, as is the case for most teams in the country.
All right, big surprise. Danny's got all the SEC teams eliminated already.
That's what's happened already in college football. We've seen it the last 2 years.
This would be 3 straight years if that happened. Oregon and Miami in the other semi.
So this one I have, Miami I think is really good. I think Oregon is just special. Dan Lanning, I feel like they're about to kick the door down. I mentioned Dante Moore. How about Mateo Uyunglele on the defensive side of the ball? They have been absolutely terrorizing, opposing QBs. The defense to me is what makes the difference. And physically, I think they could stack up really nice against Miami.
And an all Big Ten championship game. Ohio State, last year's champion against last year's #1 overall seed.
The hardest thing to do in sports is to repeat, which is why I don't have Ohio State doing it. Give Dan Lanning and the Ducks his first national championship, led by a defense that would be out there. This would be, I think, a lower scoring game, but I do think the Ducks are a team I trust. And Dan Lanning, one of the coaches on the rise, his name's starting to come up in NFL circles. We see him as one of the best motivators out there, and he's got the resources to be able to reload where they left off last year. They are a really, really good football team. I think they're national championship worthy.
Okay, but we had 6 SEC teams in this projected playoff.
Zero chance that happens.
6!
Zero chance that happens. You heard it from me. Zero chance that team's. LSU, I'm very concerned about. And Georgia, believe it or not, they haven't been the same dominant team. We had them in here. They had some tricky games. They're only a 3.5-point favorite this weekend against Auburn, a game I think they could lose. Gunnar Stockton has been adequate, but I think there are even some Georgia fans who are starting to look at Carson Beck and being like, did we make the right move? Defense, they don't have a Jordan Davis or a Jalen Carter on the defensive line, so they're not quite as dominant. I think Georgia's vulnerable to potentially not getting into the playoffs.
All right, we will see Oregon, Danny's projected champion, this week on CBS at home against Indiana. You guys doing a big Cover 3 preview of that one?
Absolutely. We already hit it on our big game breakdown. We'll pick the game tomorrow, though, on the Locks Pod.
Sounds good. Cover 3 podcast. Scan that QR code. It'll take you right there. I assume that you had a big game breakdown for this one on CBS Sports Network tonight as well. Liberty and UTEP. Malachi Nelson is the quarterback for the Miners.
Former 5-star.
Yeah.
Been everywhere.
Interesting to watch him tonight. 8 o'clock Eastern time on CBS Sports Network.